Every day at the same hour, the alien girl sat alone. The interspecies academy cafeteria was always loud. Metal chairs scraped the floor, translators buzzed softly, and dozens of languages mixed into one constant noise. Students from across the galaxy gathered in groups, laughing, arguing, sharing food from their homeworlds. But at the far end of the room, near the tall window that looked out into space, there was one small table that was always empty except for one person. That was where Clara sat. She arrived early before most others, and chose the same seat every time. Her posture was calm, almost careful, as if she did not want to disturb the air around her. Her skin shimmered softly with a pale silver-blue light, a natural sign of her Aurelian emotions. She kept that glow low, controlled, because attention made her uncomfortable. Clara was used to being alone. On her homeworld, no one was ever truly alone. Aurelians felt emotions together. Joy flowed from one heart to another. Pain was shared so no one carried it by themselves. But here, far from home, Clara felt everything by herself. The silence pressed against her chest in a way she had never known. She opened her small container and ate her meal. Colorless nutrient crystals designed for survival, not pleasure. She ate slowly, not because she enjoyed it, but because there was nothing else to do. Around her, other students glanced at her, and then quickly looked away. Some whispered. Some stared too long. No one sat down. Clara pretended not to notice. Across the cafeteria, William stood in line, holding a flat brown box in his hands. He had arrived at the academy only a month ago, but already he felt out of place. Humans were new to deep galactic education programs, and many species still did not trust them. William felt those eyes on him every day, measuring, judging, waiting for him to prove some terrible human stereotype. He did his best to ignore it. What he could not ignore was the girl who sat alone. He had noticed her on his first day, not because she was alien. Half the cafeteria was alien, but because she never spoke to anyone, never laughed, never moved tables. She looked like someone who had learned not to expect company. William knew that look. Today he carried pizza. Real earth pizza, still warm, still smelling like home. It was a small comfort in a place that did not feel like it belonged to him. As the line moved forward, William's eyes drifted again toward the far table. Clara sat there, just as she always did. Something inside him tightened. He took his box and walked past her table, then stopped. William stood there for a moment, his heart beating faster than it should have. He did not know why he was nervous. He had spoken to aliens before. He had faced danger before. But this felt different. This felt personal. He turned around. "Hi," he said. Clara looked up, startled. Humans rarely spoke to her directly. Her glowing eyes focused on him, cautious but polite. "Yes," she answered softly. William lifted the pizza box slightly, suddenly aware of how silly he might look. "You like pizza?" The question hung between them. Clara blinked. Her translator processed the words, but the meaning took longer. No one had ever asked her such a thing. Not what she studied. Not where she came from. But what she liked. "I do not know," she said honestly. "I have never eaten it." William smiled, relief washing over him. "Then you should try it." He hesitated. "Can I sit?" Clara glanced at the empty chair across from her. That chair had been empty for weeks. For months. Slowly she nodded. William sat down and opened the box. The smell spread instantly: warm bread, melted cheese, spices. Clara felt her senses awaken. Her skin shimmered a faint pink without her realizing it. William carefully offered her a slice, holding it the way one might offer something precious. Clara accepted it with both hands. She examined it, curious, then took a small bite. Her eyes widened. The taste was overwhelming. In the best way. Warmth filled her mouth, then her chest. It felt comforting, almost emotional. Her glow brightened. "That is very good," she said, surprised by her own smile. William laughed quietly. "Yeah, it is." They ate in silence for a moment. It was not an awkward silence. It was gentle. Easy. "I am Clara," she said at last. "William," he replied. "Nice to finally know your name." She tilted her head. "You have noticed me before?" "Every day," William admitted. You always sit here. Clara looked down. It is quieter. William nodded. I get that. He told her he came from a human colony near the edge of explored space. That humans were loud, emotional, and sometimes exhausting, but also loyal in a way that never faded. Clara listened closely, absorbing every word. When she spoke of her homeworld, her glow softened with longing. Floating cities. Shared emotions. A people who believed that understanding each other was the highest form of strength. You are not weak, William said without thinking. Clara looked at him surprised. They say Aurelians are, she replied quietly. William shook his head. Anyone who feels that deeply is strong. They just don't understand it. Something inside Clara warmed at his words. The cafeteria slowly emptied. Neither of them noticed the time. When they finally stood to leave, Clara felt something unfamiliar in her chest. Not loneliness. Not fear. Hope. As they walked out together, Clara realized something important. She had not sat alone today. And William realized something too. Sometimes, the bravest thing a human could do was ask a simple question. You like pizza? After the day of pizza, nothing felt the same. Clara still arrived at the cafeteria at the same hour, and she still chose the table near the tall window that looked out into space. But now, she did not sit down with the quiet certainty of loneliness. She sat with a question in her heart. Will he come today? Most days William did. He never made it feel forced. Sometimes he arrived with food from Earth. Pizza again, sweetbread, something he called cookies. Other days he came with nothing but a tired smile and a story to tell. Clara learned that humans shared stories the way Aurelians shared emotions. Slowly, the empty chair across from her stopped feeling like an exception and started feeling like it belonged to someone. Their conversations grew longer. William told her about Earth nights, about stars hidden by clouds, about music humans listened to when they felt alone. He described rain in careful detail, knowing she had never felt it. He spoke about how humans pretended to be strong even when they were afraid. Clara listened with full attention. When she spoke, she told him about Aurelian emotion waves, about how her people could stand in a circle and feel the same happiness or sorrow at the same time. She told him how painful it was to feel nothing but her own emotions here, cut off from everyone else. Does it hurt? William asked one day. Clara nodded. More than I expected. William's jaw tightened. You shouldn't have to go through that alone. The words stayed with her long after he left. Other students noticed the change. Whispers followed them in hallways. Humans and Aurelians walking together drew attention. Some species watched with curiosity, others with quiet disapproval. Humans were known as emotional, dangerous when pushed. Aurelians were seen as gentle, easily influenced. Clara felt those stares like cold air against her skin. One afternoon, William was late. Clara waited longer than usual. The cafeteria emptied. The stars outside the window shifted as the station moved. Her glow dimmed, sliding toward gray. She stood to leave when she heard voices nearby. Can't believe he spends time with her. She's Aurelian. They get attached too easily. He'll regret it. Clara froze. The words were not shouted. They were worse, casual. Certain. She walked away without being seen. Her steps light but her heart heavy. That night, she did not sleep. Aurelians rarely cried, but her glow pulsed unevenly as emotions fought inside her. The next day she avoided William. She changed her schedule. Ate earlier. Sat in different places. It did not stop him from finding her. Clara, he said gently, approaching her in the quiet library hall. Did I do something wrong? She turned away, her voice low. You should not sit with me anymore. William felt a sharp pain in his chest. Why? They judge you, she said. Because of me. William stepped closer. I don't care what they think. Clara finally faced him. Her eyes shone with fear. You should. Humans already suffer enough. William was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, slower than usual. Clara, where I come from, humans don't survive because life is easy. We survive because we choose each other, even when it hurts. She shook her head. Aurelians believe love makes us vulnerable. William smiled sadly. Yeah, it does. He reached out and gently took her hand. The contact sent a soft shock through them both. Not painful, just unfamiliar. Clara's glow brightened, colors moving faster than she could control. She did not pull away. Being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak, William said quietly. It means you have something worth protecting. For the first time, Clara felt what humans called being seen. After that, they stopped hiding. They walked together openly, sat together every day, shared food and silence and laughter. Clara learned human humor, strange, sometimes dark, but honest. William learned to read the colors of her skin, understanding her emotions without words. Something deeper began to form between them. But the galaxy was watching. One evening, alarms echoed through the academy halls. A political council summoned students from certain species. Tension spread quickly. Rumors of conflict moved faster than truth. Clara's people had been called passive for too long. Human presence had upset old balances. Some species feared what humans and Aurelians together represented: emotion and will, empathy and fire. That night, William and Clara stood by the observation window. "Do you ever wish you had stayed home?" William asked. Clara thought for a moment. Then she looked at him. "No," she said. "If I had, I would never have met you." William smiled softly. In that moment, neither of them knew what was coming. But the galaxy had begun to understand something dangerous and beautiful. Humans did not love halfway. And Aurelians, when they loved, amplified that love into something powerful. Two lonely hearts had found each other. And soon the stars themselves would notice. The attack began in silence. No warning alarms. No official announcements. Just a sudden change in the stars outside the academy window. The calm lights of distant systems flickered, then vanished, replaced by dark shapes moving too fast to be natural. William noticed first. His instincts, shaped by a human history full of conflict, screamed danger. "Clara," he said quietly, taking her hand. "Something's wrong." Before she could reply, the floor shook. Lights flashed red. The academy's emergency systems finally woke up, and sirens filled the halls. Students ran in every direction. Fear rose like smoke. An invasion force had breached the outer defenses. For many species, fear meant freezing. For humans, fear meant movement. William pulled Clara close and guided her through the chaos. Explosions echoed behind them as parts of the station lost pressure. Security drones fired wildly, but the attackers were prepared. This was not a random strike. It was a message. Unity is dangerous. They reached a sealed corridor, but a blast threw William against the wall. Pain exploded through his side. He slid to the floor, struggling to breathe. "William!" Clara cried, dropping beside him. He forced himself to smile, though blood stained his uniform. "Guess this day got exciting." Clara's glow flickered violently. Fear, anger, love. Emotions she had never held alone before surged through her, unfiltered. She pressed her hands against his wound, her voice shaking. "Stay with me." "I'm not going anywhere," he whispered. "As long as you're here." The attackers drew closer. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. Clara looked up, terror and determination burning together inside her. Aurelians had hidden their true nature for centuries. They were not weak. They were controlled. Aurelian biology converted emotion into energy. Alone, that energy stayed small. Together, it became something galaxy-changing. Clara had never been connected to her people here. But she was connected to William. And that was enough. Her glow brightened, shifting through colors no human eye had ever seen. The air vibrated. William felt warmth spread through him, dulling the pain. "Clara," he whispered in awe. "I feel you," she said, tears in her eyes. "Your fear, your strength, your love." She stood, placing herself between William and the approaching enemies. The corridor exploded with light that a wave of energy surged outward, throwing the attackers back like leaves in a storm. Metal twisted. Weapons failed. The station itself seemed to breathe again. Across the galaxy, sensors flared. Commanders watched in shock as a single Aurelian student stopped an invasion force. Security regained control. The attackers retreated. Silence returned, broken only by the crackle of damaged systems. Clara collapsed. William caught her. When she woke in the medical wing, her first sight was William sitting beside her bed, bruised but alive. His hand was wrapped tightly around hers. "You scared everyone," he said softly. She smiled weakly. "Including myself." News spread fast. A human and an Aurelian. Love strong enough to awaken a power long denied. Councils argued. Militaries reassessed. Old beliefs shattered. The academy became a symbol. Not of weakness but of possibility. Days later, Clara and William stood once more by the observation window. "I was afraid of loving you," Clara admitted. "Afraid it would make us both targets." William squeezed her hand. "Humans have a saying. If it's worth loving, it's worth fighting for." Clara leaned against him, her glow calm and warm. She understood now. Humanity was never feared for its weapons. It was feared for its heart. Because when humans chose someone, they chose them completely. And when an Aurelian loved a human, the stars themselves learned to be afraid.